Everyone, my name is Dora Rath and I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. And each week I bring you a story that takes about 5 minutes to watch. And this story this week is interesting. It's from a book I read by Louise Penny called Still Life. And she writes mystery books about a detective in Quebec and his pals, and they're solving murder mysteries. And his name is Gamache. But what I want to read to you is a conversation he's having with Myrna, who's a librarian, and she is in all of his books. But this is a conversation between the two of them that I thought you'd find interesting. So he's come to see her in the library. She picked a book out of her pile. "Have you read this?" She held a worn copy of Brother Albert's book, Loss. Gamache shook his head and figured it probably wasn't the cheeriest of reads. She turned it over in her huge hands and seemed to caress it. Brother Albert Mayu. "His theory is that life is loss," said Myrna after a moment. "Loss of parents, loss of lovers, loss of jobs. So we have to find a higher meaning in our lives than these things and people. Otherwise, we'll lose ourselves." "What do you think of that?" I think he's right. I was a psychologist in Montreal before coming here a few years ago. Most of the people came through my door because of a crisis in their lives, and most of those crises boiled down to loss. Loss of a marriage or an important relationship, loss of security, a job, a home, a parent. Something drove them to ask for help and to look deep inside themselves, and the catalyst was often change and loss. Are they the same thing? For someone not well skilled at adapting, they can be. Loss of control? That's a huge one, of course. Most of us are great with change as long as it's our idea. But change imposed from the outside can send some people into a tailspin. I think Brother Albert hit it on the head. Life is loss. But out of that, as the book stresses, comes freedom. If we can accept that nothing is permanent and change is inevitable, if we can adapt, then we're going to be happier people. What brought you here? Loss? Well, that's hardly fair, Chief Inspector. Now you've got me. Yes, but not in a conventional way, since I, of course, always have to be special and different. Myrna put her head back and laughed at herself. She said, "I lost sympathy with many of my patients. After 25 years of listening to their complaints, I finally snapped. I woke up one morning bent out of shape about this client who was 43 but acting 16. Every week he'd come with the same complaints. Someone hurt me. Life is unfair. It's not my fault. For 3 years I'd been making suggestions, and for 3 years he had done nothing. Then listening to him this one day, I suddenly understood. He wasn't changing because he didn't want to. He had no intention of changing. For the next 25 years, he would go through this charade. I realized in that same instant that most of my clients were exactly like him. Surely, though, some were trying. Oh, yes, she said, but they were the ones who got better quickly because they worked hard at it and genuinely wanted it. The others said they wanted to get better, but I think it isn't popular in psychological circles." And here she leaned forward and whispered conspiratorially, "I think many people love their problems, give them all sorts of excuses for not growing up and getting on with life." Myrna leaned back again in her chair and took a long breath. Life is change. If you aren't growing and evolving, you're standing still, and the rest of the world is surging ahead. Most of these people are very immature. They lead still lives, waiting. Waiting for what? Said Gamache. Waiting for someone to save them. Expecting someone to save them, or at least protect them from the big bad world. The thing is, no one else can save them because the problem is theirs, and so is the solution. One only they can get out of. Isn't that interesting? I think this is just wonderful, wonderful advice for us in our lives. And certainly loss is really difficult, and it makes us often try and go in a different path, in a different way. And I really thought this was really excellent to share with you this information from Louise Penny in this book called Still Life and Inspector Gamache. So it's a good book. I recommend it. So blessings on your day, and thanks for taking 5.